Bisbee, Arizona, south of Tucson, 6 miles north of the Mexican border. Originally founded in the 1880s by the Phelps Dodge Mining Corporation, now a haven for artists, hippies, and retired people. There's a state highway bypass, and you can go around it. But I would recommend that you don't, because this is really a neat little town to see. The town's so small and friendly, it still has a community meeting board. And it has activities to try to find paranormal activity. That's why we were here, and that's why you're watching. This investigation is about the Copper Queen Hotel, where we rented a room for 2 nights on the 4th floor. We paid about $560 for the 2 rooms on the 4th floor and for the subsequent tour of the 4th floor. And these rates change, so you need to check with the website to see what their current rates are. This was not cheap, but you get what you pay for, and to date this is one of the best tours that we've taken. We chose the Teddy Roosevelt room for its size, aptly named as the hotel guesses that he probably stayed here at one time. Upon check-in, we were given a Xerox layout of the rooms of the 4th floor. In the schematic of things, our room was here. Here's how the tour goes. People who book rooms on the 4th floor get the entire run of the 4th floor during the evening that they stay there. Rooms that are unbooked are left open, and all hallway lights are turned off except for exit signs. During the first hour, you also get a tour guide who presents a historical overview. Our tour guide was Renee from the photo you saw earlier, who looks a little different in person. Renee recounted how there are 3 main spirits attributed to the hotel. The first, and best known, was a prostitute named Julia Lowell, whose room is actually on the 3rd floor. According to legend, Julia committed suicide over a John whom she fell in love with that couldn't love her back. Gee, where have I heard that story before? Like maybe every other old hotel that I've ever investigated? According to the legend, males who venture to sleep in this bed, her bed, are fondled while they sleep. She no longer charges for this, by the way. The second permanent tenant hangs around our room, room 406. He has reportedly been seen passing from the bathroom by the dresser into the outside door, and is described as being a tall male wearing a frock coat and a stovepipe hat, and accompanied by cigar smoke. The last is Billy, a child's ghost, who even got a room named after him, room 412. According to the legend, Billy was about 7 when he drowned in a nearby river, and returned to the hotel because his mother was working here on the day that he died. As a small child would, Billy likes to play with small toys, jacks, things like that. Steals change and jewelry from rooms, likes to move anything that dangles, like cords on lamps, and plays with anything that has to do with water, maybe in reference to his death, turning sinks on, showers on, flushing toilets, stuff like that. Here's an artist's rendition of little Casper, Billy, that's hanging in his room. Renee walked us through the hallways while recanting the history and told us that the rooms that had the paranormal activity were 406, 401, 412, and the Julia Lowell room downstairs. Everyone who stays on the 4th floor during the ghost tour gets the complete run of the 4th floor. All unoccupied room doors are left unlocked. All lights are turned off except for the exit signs at the end of the hallways. We were lucky because on this particular evening there was only one other couple that checked into a room on the 4th floor, and we never saw them again after the initial tour. We had the whole run of the 4th floor to ourselves. Renee anticipated supplying us with equipment after the tour ended. We, of course, already had our own equipment with us, which proved to be an unnecessary irritant. Renee walked us into Billy's room, room 412, and upon entering, we threw our EMF detectors down on one of the beds, and our night started.
This is a very active room, as you guys can see. Oh my...
There is absolutely no rational reason for these EMF detectors to be activated. There are no electrical lines under or nearby the beds.
Are you videotaping?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
The reason you see the nice blue frame is because of an internal malfunction of the camera itself. Even though the camera was set to the camera record button, it instead recorded the information to the SIM card, which is used for digital still pics. Rebooting the camera did not alleviate the problem, although once we left the room, I rebooted it and it came back to its normal operating system. During investigations, I've had devices drained of battery power, and I even had one camera shut off completely while investigating the Silver Queen Hotel in Virginia City, Nevada. but never before have I had a camera changed internal settings so that it recorded into a different mode. This camera, by the way, has not done this since, even though we've been on a half a dozen investigations and used it.
Kind of talking to each other.
Almost, yeah.
What do they do?
What
Does
is
that
that?
pick up energy? Is that what those are? And I'm going to talk about, those are the brand that we have here. Those are electromagnetic field or frequency detectors. It's a brand called Cell Sensor. And it's basically measuring fluctuations in the EMF field in the room. No, I don't know what they're reading right now.
Not only was she uncertain what it was reading, but she let us know that she really didn't like handing out the equipment until after the tour was completed, just for this reason. After the tour, there was no problem with the tip bucket coming out, however. We didn't mind tipping. It was a good tour, and we like tipping for good tours. However, these guys need to realize that we paid dearly to obtain this information, and we're going to grab it when we can, where we can. At the completion of the tour, we went to room 401, where we immediately picked up the same EMF activity that we had just encountered in room 412.
You're in unison.
Almost. Hello. Can you move away from the detectors so that they stop? One seems to be going off more than the other ones.
My flashlight is not working.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of things go out here.
It's 4/45.
Looks like the UV's doing anything, does it?
Let's stop. Where are you?
It doesn't like this, whatever it is.
The device that I took out that apparently caused the activity to cease is this device that I'm holding in my hand right here. It is an electrosmog detector, and it collects RF waves within the room. I always do a sweep of the room to find out if there's any RF interference. It's composed of a coil, which picks up the RF waves, but emits nothing. As I turn it on and move it close to the internet, you can hear what it would sound like. There is no rational explanation which would cause the activity in the room to cease upon taking this item out.
You don't like this? This is an electrosmog detector. It detects radio frequencies. But apparently, it makes you feel uncomfortable. So where did you go? You took off somewhere. Whatever it is,
Okay,
he's
come
gone.
on. Here.
But he was in here when
It's
we
your
came
turn.
in. And just be quiet. Sit for a little bit. He'll come back. Just like they always do.
You're shy.
You didn't like that RF detector. You didn't know what that was.
Well, you're scared. You scared it.
It's interesting. This equipment he's used to, but the RF detector he didn't know what it was, so he shied away from it. Fascinating.
It would be another hour before the EMF activity returned. In between that time frame, a couple of other things happened.
Hit that chain?
Huh? I don't know.
When it went up? I don't remember hitting it. Are you causing the chain to swing? Can you make it swing again?
Swing it real fast.
I don't remember hitting it. Maybe I did though.
Without photographic evidence, we had to label this as an unknown, although this is one of the complaints that's supposed to be associated with Casper, or Billy.
Did you turn that on? It's the light.
Huh?
Did you turn that on?
No, I didn't turn it on, but it's just the toilet's running a little bit. So it's refilling itself.
Running water and flushing toilets is also one of the complaints. I picked up the lid off of the back of the tank, and I couldn't see a leak anywhere, but toilets do sometimes leak and refill themselves, so we had to label this one as unknown also. Once the EMF activity finally did return, I took out the electrosmog detector a second time to see what the results would be. This time it was far less concerned with it, almost as though it had learned from the first experience that it was not a threat.
See, before you didn't like this. Let's see if you don't like it now.
It stopped.
Nothing. There it was. I'm not afraid of it now.
If you are there, turn the thing off. It's noisy.
I mean, there's other people staying here.
No? There you go. They're gone.
It's gone. There it was.
It's listening to me.
Yep, sure did.
Are you still there? One more time. Oh, great.
It's playing with
Thank you very much. You're so nice.
As we proceeded out of room 401 and down the hallway, Jan recorded this orb.
What's that?
What?
Like an orb earlier.
What?
A big ball of light.
On trying to debunk it, we found in fact that it was infrared bounce back, or basically infrared reflection from a glass case at the end of the hallway.
This is Billy's room.
Sure is.
Hi, Billy.
Upon returning to Billy's room, we now found zero EMF activity when the EMF detectors were placed on the exact same bed that we had him on when we first arrived.
59. It's fluctuating.
Yeah, it's cooler here. It was 62 in the other room, so it's a little cooler here, isn't it?
Did you hear that? A kid?
I did.
Here is that possible EVP enhanced. It sounds like a child's voice. Could be yelling out. Beyond that, impossible to tell. We had been given the key to the unoccupied Julia Lowell room downstairs.
Hello, Julia.
We went in, checked, and found no activity at all. In our own room, the Teddy Roosevelt room, we were awakened twice by the EMF detectors going off. Both times, over 2 different days, the detector went off on the dresser between the 2 doors, as though something had passed between it, just as it was claimed, but we saw nothing. This final time, it moved to the dresser over between our beds and stayed for about a minute before it completely disappeared. In conclusion, we felt that room 401 was the center of the activity. The possibly interactive EMF activity was centered here. The swinging door chain, an unknown. The partial toilet flush, another unknown. In room 412, Billy's room, the initial EMF activity and camera malfunction was here, and later on the EVP was recorded about here. In our own room, the Teddy Roosevelt suite, 3 instances of EMF activity were recorded here and here, no longer than a minute in length for any of them. In the 4th floor hallway and Julia Lowell room, we found nothing.